So, this is the first spooky video of the season. I'm excited. Are you excited? Because I am way too excited. So this season, every video I make, either on this channel or main channel, is going to be a series that I'm going to be continuing. And the first video is going to be like a little bit of a taste, excluding one, plus kind of an explanation. So this one here is called Spooky Kids, and this is my reading children's horror as an adult series. We're going to be taking a critical eye on children's horror. In this video, we're going to be discussing 3 books. Boy, I always forget it, and my library covered it up. K.R. Alexander. So we have Darkroom, Possess Me, and Follow Me. Now, I believe the kids are smart. I think that kids are capable of learning things, and especially when we give it to them packaged in a way that they'll accept it. I'm also one of those people that thinks fiction is powerful and one of the most fantastic tools we don't use. So, with the rash of book bannings going across nationwide, and moms groups trying to protect kids, none of them have banned science fiction, horror, or fantasy. Which is ironic to me, because these specific sections, these specific genres, were born out of the necessity to stick it to the man and speak up to power. That's what these genres do. The creation of science fiction was people calling out those in authority. Not the best. I haven't read kids' books in so long. It's just done badly. Hi everybody! Okay, welcome to the first of many, hopefully, reading children's horror vlogs. Today I've got 3 books that I'm going to be reading from K. Alexander. I'll try and read them in the span of 24 hours, because they have to go back to the library. And I also have nothing else to post, so we're gonna try and squish this in. But they're all pretty short. I mean, they are all children's books, and you know, not a lot of writing on each page, so I think I can do it. But let's go ahead and talk about it. And again, these are all by K. Alexander, as far as I can tell. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. So we have the largest, which is Darkroom, which is apparently about a girl who has a ghost app, and then I guess ghost stuff actually starts happening to her. We'll see. And then I've got 2 from this other series that I did read. I think I read Hunt Me last year. I could be wrong though, but I've got Follow Me and I've got Possess Me, and I think these all follow the same kids in paranormally spooky ways. So I've got a ton of errands I need to run today, so I'm going to be probably mostly listening to these on audiobook, but I will update you guys as I can. And I think I'm actually going to start with Possess Me, just because this one has been calling to me for a couple of days. So I will update you guys when I get to, let's say, chapter 4. Okay, so I'm at chapter 4. Sorry, you're uneven. And we have these 2 characters who like collecting oddities. And there's a legend of this house that's supposedly haunted, of course, that burned it down, you know. Very Scooby-Doo-esque. Stilted in a way, I guess? I don't know. I think it's just because I've been reading stuff that's like very, very pose-heavy and very dramatical and a lot of non-fiction lately. So I think maybe jumping into like kids fiction is just a huge leap. This moment, it feels very low stakes. Like a high stakes title, but low stakes vibes. For what this is, it's pretty good. If I was 7, I would be enthralled. I'd call this high stakes Goosebumps. Kid likes collecting stuff, finds a possessed ring, but he has to go to the house, and then he becomes possessed, and his friends / bullies all get possessed too, and they all get out, but the ring follows him, which generally is accurate with what I know of possessed objects. So I'm gonna go ahead and give this a 3. It's not the best thing ever, and I read it super fast. Sorry I didn't update you guys at all. We'll try and do that with the rest, but I've been doing like a lot of some cleaning and stuff around my office. And I will say that the audiobook narrator for Follow Me, wow. Like, I'm actually on edge. Like, these are not all that scary to me at all. Like, then again, I've fallen asleep and slept through most of The Exorcist more than once in my life. So, like, bars on the ceiling. And so far, we've got this family and this kid who's in 4th grade, who have moved to this town in the country that it's hard to remember that I need to, like, suspend my disbelief more and let things be explained to me more than I would even in a YA or a middle grade, because these characters are in the 4th grade, so like stuff is very much explained. They've moved into the old house that everyone says is haunted, and he keeps seeing a little girl with long black hair who carries a teddy bear around. I think part of the problem is I'm currently reading Let the Right One In. So, you know. If you know, you know. There are Muppets episodes that are scarier. So this ghost girl supposedly takes people and they disappear. It seems not like they're killed. It seems like they just disappear and they go to, I don't know, another plane of existence, I guess. Okay, so it's been a couple of hours and I've thought about it and I wanted to describe some of the stuff that I have a problem with Possess Me. No, not Possess Me, Follow Me. So, like I was saying, or will say, I don't know where I'm putting this in the video, there's a lot of Deus Machina, or God in the Machinery, which basically, or God in the Machine, I forget the perfect translation, whatever. Anyway, it's a literary term that's existed since the Greeks, and basically what it means is magical thing comes in and fixes whatever. There's also at least 3 MacGuffins in this, and a MacGuffin is a magical object that a author uses or a movie writer uses to fix the plot, or give you dialogue. In here, there's a journal, and the journal is very much the MacGuffin, and you could use this journal in like a really cool way. You could have our protagonist find it and right away, like within the first couple of chapters, and you know, have stuff appear in the journal every day as stuff is happening. So like there's dual timelines going on, but we only get a perspective of the dual timelines going on. And then you could have some potentiality for like introducing kids to an unreliable narrator that way. But unfortunately, Alexander goes in probably one of the stupidest and least intelligent ways he could have written this book. And instead of, you know, using the MacGuffin in the way a MacGuffin is supposed to be used, or using a Deus Machina in the way a Deus Machina is supposed to be used, he just uses them as cheap ways of telling the story. And the story doesn't actually follow any sort of logic. It gets very fanciful, but it's not fantasy. Like, it's supposed to be horror, but it's not horror fantasy either. And again, like, everything just feels like really low stakes. And granted, I am reading like some pretty heavy adult horror right now, but everything feels such low stakes. And I don't think that would be different if I wasn't reading such heavy adult horror and heavy adult nonfiction right now. And this is true of all of his books, which to some extent is also true in Goosebumps. But his books, these books in specifically J.R. Alexander's books specifically, are supposed to be for like late elementary, early middle school. So these kids can handle slightly more involved storylines. They're capable of understanding this. Are super strict rules for your ghosts. There can be some balance and some levity there. But if you establish rules for your magic system, or ghosts, or aliens, or what have you, and then you completely throw that out the window in the middle of the book, we're gonna have a problem. And he does this not only once, but twice. As like a twist. That's not a twist, that's poor writing. And like, I know that I'm harping on kids' books, I get that, but the reality is kids are smart. They can handle this stuff. They can understand what we're saying. They are capable of grasping these concepts if we place it in a way they can get it. So like I was saying, it would be like, there are so many elements here that could work, but altogether it feels a lot of times like three stories competing with each other and they don't mesh well. Some authors can do that and like you get to the end and you're like, oh my god, how did all of that work together? And it's seamless. K. Alexander is not that talented. Or at least not that talented under this pen name. You can even use like think of Superman's power sets. Although stuff changes a little bit here and there, for the most part, his power sets relatively stay the same. The rules for Superman and how he can use his powers, that he needs the Earth's yellow sun, blah blah blah, all of that kryptonite will stop him, all of those things are canon. All of those things are very secure within Superman myths, right? So those things within Superman canon stay true. Batman's parents always get killed, like Bruce Wayne's parents always get killed in an alley after seeing Zorro by Joe Chill, by the same person. It's always the same movie too. So like, and I'm not saying that those should stay the same, I'm saying that they are. And what I'm saying is that once you establish rules like that in your universe, Batman doesn't use guns, we can't then have Batman as Bruce Wayne using guns. Do you get what I'm saying here? And this author plays fast and loose with the rules all the time, and I think he was trying to go for a like you don't fully understand what's coming kind of thing, and like be like, she's not really evil, it's actually this other ghost. Woo! And it feels like it changes in 2 chapters. It doesn't feel like it's a possibility within the narrative beforehand, and it just feels like it's there because the author thought, or the publisher thought, it needed a twist, and it doesn't work naturally. Like a good twist in a book needs to work naturally, and it's still, even if it's a surprise, needs to have threads that pull. Like this book is just poorly constructed in general, and it's so frustrating because it could be good, it could be fantastic, and it's not. It drives me a little crazy. Without stake, like there's no suspense built. I don't know, is this just this author? Is this all kids horror? I don't know. I've got so many kids horror videos this summer, so I hope, not this summer, this fall, so I hope it gets better. I know that there are some, at least there's some I liked when I was a kid. I don't know if I'll still like them as an adult, but like I'm all the way to chapter 23. I mean, I'll give it this, it reads really fast. Then again, most chapters are 3 pages, so there's that. It's stuff like they see the ghost and then everybody scatters, and then he gets home and he calls his friend and he's like, are you there, have you seen her again? Ah! And super evil monster stuff. But it can pull less punches than this does. This pulls so many punches. It has too many Deus Machinas. It has so much potential, and it is really good. Like, don't get me wrong with that. I'll describe that when I'm done. But like, this is what I mean in like terms of length. So this whole chapter is literally that. Like that's an entire chapter. Not all of the chapters are this short. Most of them are like 3 pages long. Problem with this book that I can definitely say is this book is this is the second Deus Machina I've found. So like our main character is wandering around his house trying to avoid the ghost, looking for answers about the haunting. And then a journal tumbles out of a secret passage in the wall. Now again, I'm not saying that this is bad. I'm just saying that that is the second Deus Machina in a book this long. That's a couple too many Deus Machinas in a book this long, by the way. Not that there's a problem with having a Deus Machina. It is been a used version, part of storytelling since you know, the Greeks. So it has its place in Western storytelling. I'm just saying that, do you see how long this book is? Okay, so I think that this is supposed to be like a foray into middle grade, because stuff is definitely more sophisticated than it is in the other series that this author writes. And this character is supposedly at high school, but doesn't act like they're in high school. Like, I read a lot of YA. This is not typically how YA is written. It's not generally how, but it is rated as middle grade back here. Oh, that's nice. That would be very handy for videos. So it says it's middle grade back here. So that explains a lot. But we have a character who wants to become a streamer and likes the paranormal and heard her friend found a phone game. It's gonna have them talk to ghosts, and of course it's gonna be cursed or whatever. Like, it's better than the last one I read. I'm not even gonna lie about that. Like, that doesn't take much. Trust me. We can just have one Deus Machina and it would already be better. But largely, I'm bored to tears. So it's set up in days. So I will update you guys when I get to Thursday, day 5. Naturally, this character wants to be a streamer. Not that I know much about that, but they have a channel and they've gotten 2,000 followers overnight, which would be amazing. But they also have $500 in donations overnight. To what? For what? In what? Who knows? But like, authors, if you're gonna write about a specific thing, like, at least do some cursory research. Understand what it looks like, understand how it functions, talk to people that are doing it, you know, something. Because yet again, we have a lot of like people that don't do social media full-time describing what it's like to do social media full-time. It's going really fast though. It's staying consistent in what it is, so I'll probably update you when I'm done. It's only taken me about an hour and a half to get through it so far, maybe 2 hours, so it reads really, really fast. So yeah, I will update you guys in a little bit. So this one is significantly better than the last one I read by this author. Not a shock. But it's also kind of annoying how low stakes it is. Now, this is considered middle grade. I mean, it even says so on the back of the book here. But it feels like it's a very low end on middle grade, because if you think about it, Percy Jackson, I guess maybe not Percy Jackson, so is the Series of Unfortunate Events. It's also considered middle grade. And yet that has way more dark of a tone than this. Basically, we have a girl who wants to become popular by streaming games, and she ends up finding this ghost game randomly on her phone, and it's cursed, of course. And she has to defeat the boss to get away. Works and it doesn't. So at least there is one narrative and it feels like one story through the whole book, unlike the last book I read. But it doesn't feel high stakes again. Again, people go missing, but nothing happens to them. They don't even remember why they disappeared. There is no like consequence other than our main characters can't keep streaming. That's the only consequence in this book. Again, kids can handle it, especially when we get into the middle grade time. Like, they can handle more complex storytelling than this. They can handle bigger scares than this. Like, I get that you're trying to be topical, but it also comes off as someone who doesn't know what streaming is and doesn't know what video game streaming is. And like, granted, I'm not on that side of this kind of field by any means, but yet even I know this is not how that works. Like, getting thousands of followers overnight is really hard to do. It happens, but it's rare. They're not getting any of the negative side of things that they would be getting from this, which is just a part of posting things on the internet. And they just get donations out of the blue. And anybody who does this knows that, like, if you have 1 million people that follow you, you're lucky to get a handful of people that like go to your Patreon or like join your membership or whatever, it's really unlikely that all of your followers or a good chunk of your followers will do that. And you need like a lot of followers to do that, and then eventually ad money comes in if, you know, the platform you're on terrible and it's not remarkable. And I don't know if I'm giving it a 3.5 because this book on its own deserves that, or because Follow Me, is that what I just read last night, was so utterly a mess that any sort of cohesive storytelling, I'm just like, yes, it's improved significantly. It deserves that kind of a rank. I don't know, but what I do know is I think I have to get another book for this video, because this isn't gonna be long enough. I tried, but there's just not enough to talk about with these books. Like, I think they would be great horror books for like a kids spooky book club, because they're just scary enough where they're not going to be too scary for the kids that really, for people that really can't handle a lot of scary, but they're not going to be so unscary that the kids that want something scary aren't going to be able to handle it. Again, like I said, it's like higher stakes Goosebumps. Not that that's a bad thing, and there's obviously a market for it because this author has written a lot. But I definitely suggest their middle grade stuff, which is a very low end middle grade, because it was in the children's section at my library, and a good chunk of middle grade stuff is in the young adult section. That could just be my library system though. So yeah, 3.5, and I'm gonna go see if I have another kids horror book laying around here somewhere, because I really want to win. I want to win in this video. I've read kids horror before, I've read middle grade horror before, that's very good. Not necessarily scary, but like I did for Summerween, the first 2 volumes in the Tales of the Haunted Mansion. It's an anthology series about stories from the Haunted Mansion, and those are actually very good. They're definitely middle grade. They're right around this kind of reading level, but they are so much more intelligently written, so much more well structured. It doesn't feel like it's talking down to the audience. This kind of does. So yeah, I don't know. The next episode of this, which I think will be out in 2 weeks, I'm not sure, will be much more stringent in its like setup. This is much more casual. I was still kind of playing with the idea when I did this. So I will see you guys later. Bye. Okay, so now I can't pick them up, of course. Naturally. So yeah, I don't, this book is problematic to the nines. I have issues. Again, like I said, in the next one, this will be way more detailed and way more specific, and I would actually break down my specific issues. That'll happen in the next episode. And these 2 are fine. These 2, coming from an adult perspective, if you're trying to get into horror but you're kind of scared of it, something like this would be great. Possess Me is better. And Darkroom is actually pretty good. I've rated this higher than some adult horrors that I've read. It's creepy enough, it's scary enough, it's intriguing. It is a pretty generic plot, and all of these kind of have the same sort of generic plot throughout. But both of these work, whereas this one just doesn't for me. It was totally fine. Kay Alexander seems to be a hit or a miss for me, because I didn't like Fear Zone, which I've already read, and I did like Scare Me or Haunt Me, whatever one that I read last year. So he seems to be a hit or miss author for me. And, you know, walk into kids' books knowing you're not going to like everything. Expect things to be a little bit more whimsical, of course. But, you know, not a half bad reading vlog. I've had worse. Kind of nice break considering the other stuff that I'm reading around these. But anyway, alright, I'll see you guys in the next one. And remember that in October, I'm going to be posting every other day on this channel. So I'll see you guys in the next one.